And it's time for On Point, where we speak to experts to delve deeper into some of the key issues in the spotlight right now. South Korea was able to finally approve its first domestically produced COVID-19 vaccine with SKYCovione, developed by SK Bioscience. Now, it's certainly a huge step forwards in the country's push towards easing its dependency on imported vaccines.
But just how effective is SKYCovione, and will it be enough to convince South Koreans to continue to get vaccinated, even though it is towards the tail end of the pandemic? Well, we're going to find out as we connect with Dr. Seung-taek, Virologist at the Zoonotic Virus Lab at Institut Pasteur Korea. A very good morning to you, Doctor.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today. And well, first of all, could you tell us more about this new vaccine produced by SK Bioscience and tell us about its efficacy as well as how it's administered?
Well, this vaccine, as you said, is called the SKYCovione, and also is called as the GBP 510. And this is a recombinant subunit vaccine, and which is actually very similar to the Novavax vaccine that was developed just earlier in the U.S. And then this vaccine is administered to the people over ages 18 years of age, and then this is given just 2 shots with an interval of just 4 weeks. And then I have to say, the vaccine was actually just developed by development is actually just an outcome of just multiple collaborators. And then the vaccine design was actually provided by the Institute of Protein the design at the University of Washington. And there's some the adjuvant, which is actually enhances immune responses upon just vaccination. And this adjuvant was actually provided by the GSK. And then the funding was actually came from the Gates Foundation and the CEPI, as well as just the Korean government. And then some clinical development was actually led by the SK Biosciences. And then in terms of some clinical trials, well, previously we have seen typical traditional clinical trials, which is actually comparing the vaccine efficacy against some placebo control. But here we are actually just the clinical trial was a little bit just delayed. So then the actually enrolling just a large number of the participants was actually really just difficult. So alternatively, the company actually chose the immunological correlatives of protection, which is actually basically just comparing the vaccine efficacies against the other just approved vaccines. So in this case, the SK Biosciences use the AstraZeneca vaccine as some control. So in the end, after just analyzing all the immune correlates, which is actually about just how much antibody is produced, and also how the other cell-mediated immune response is actually just generated. So based on all the outcomes, this vaccine seems to show some better efficacy against the AstraZeneca vaccine. So which is actually just pretty good news.
Yeah, I think amongst the future vaccine recipients, the efficacy is going to be very important. But what's interesting, I found out, I started getting the flu vaccine a couple of years back because the government was pushing for that. I noticed the South Korean public, they were more keen on getting vaccinated using the domestic flu vaccines as opposed to the imported ones. Do you think it's going to be the same way where, South Koreans, when they continue to get vaccinated with COVID-19, they will eventually prefer the domestically produced vaccines more?
Well, first of all, as I told you earlier, this vaccine is recombinant, just a subunit vaccine. So in terms of safety, this is actually just better than the mRNA-based vaccines or the virus-vectored vaccine. And then obviously, some people actually suffered from some adverse effects by the mRNA vaccines and the some virus-vectored vaccines. So which is actually sort of just negligible in this kind of recombinant, the subunit vaccine. And then obviously there seems to some sort of just competition issues. And then, but unless some other vaccines such as mRNA vaccines show any obvious just advantage over this vaccine, I think this SKYCovione would be sort of just some preferable just vaccine in Korea. And also at least this year, there's some contract issues, and our government already just ordered a lot of just vaccines from just outside, some Pfizer vaccines, Moderna, and the Janssen J&J vaccine. So in this situation, I don't know how many just demands are actually just demands are actually being just made for the new vaccine generated by the SK Biosciences.
Right, and with vaccines like Pfizer, the ones developed by Moderna, already dominating the market, Dr. Kim, some say that SKYCovione, it's rather late to the market. So how useful is it having this vaccine on the market right now? Is there going to be continued demand for this?
Well, actually, that's why many people actually already were just vaccinated by some other vaccines, as well as many people actually got just immunity by the natural infection. So it's tough. But the future prospects is many experts say that maybe we need more vaccines because the virus is actually evolving, and so maybe just some current vaccine may not be very just best for the currently or just future evolving future emerging this SARS-CoV-2. So one of the advantages maybe we can just come up with some sort of just optimized, so it's upgraded vaccine to come up to just deal with these new emergencies. And also, so I think just in addition to just giving these vaccines to general public, I thought it's just a development experience is very important. I mean the finishing of the phase 3 clinical trial is really challenging. So in our side, I think just finishing the all clinical trials and then finally just succeeding to the development of the vaccine is really just a precious experience.
So, Dr. Kim, I guess the big question now is what's next for South Korea, right? And now that we do have this domestically produced COVID-19 vaccine, I mean, is it going to open doors to bigger things for South Korea?
Well, I think Korea, just recently, we have been very good at least just manufacturing the vaccines, which are actually developed by some foreign companies. But at this time now, we have just shown our capability that we can actually develop our own vaccines. So, which is actually would give us more opportunity in terms of just contributing the global health by just sharing the vaccines that we have developed, and also we actually showing our capability that we can be the global partners to develop the vaccines for our global health issues.
Well, thank you very much for your insights today, Dr. Kim. We look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you.